No. You got me, Dolphin. You got me, mate. Yeah, cardio. Today was cardio day, and as I say, it keeps changing every day. Otherwise, I just have so much negativity against cardio that yeah, I have to change it every day. Um, Good to have you with us, mate. Just finalising the stream on YouTube, and once that happens, we should be good to go. Just give me a sec. Beautiful. All right, turn that down. All right. Hey, Steve. Hey, Liz. Good to have you with us, guys. We're about to kick off. Let me just put my phone on Do Not Disturb. My mates like having a chuckle when they send me messages while I'm on the live stream. Bastards. Just give me a sec. All right. Hello, Portia. Yes, big rain around Mackay. We'll have a look at that actually. That we might start with that actually. Good that you mentioned it. Good day, folks. Chris Nitso, Weather IQ. We do these lives every few nights. So usually every 2 nights if there's some really big stuff going on. Every 3 nights if it's like this and we're just sort of looking around at what's about to happen. So what we're looking for today is an overview of why are we still getting heaps of rain even though there's not a monsoon. What chances have we got of tropical cyclone and tropical low development over the northern parts of Australia? Over the, see that there, that Moonji Munji, who has asked cyclone coming, a question mark. We want to put that sort of rubbish to bed, and then sort of say that there is something out there, but there's no cyclone coming as such. All right, so let's get stuck in. First thing I want to have a look at is the Mackay region. The Mackay region is, hello to everyone, by the way. My apologies, I forgot to say that at the start. Hello to everyone, thank you for joining us again. The Mackay region, big rain there in the last 24 hours, 224 mils, 206 over here at Stafford Crossing. This is the radar-derived rainfall from the Mackay radar, and you can see just today how much rain there has been in the last 24 hours. And then just since 9 a.m, a lot of that heavier rainfall has been just since the 9 a.m. Time frame as well. And we can see that there's actually been a fair bit of rain, not just over Mackay, but also up there into the Whitsundays. So we've had lots and lots of rain through that region. The Bowen radar reflects the same thing. You can see there's been quite a bit of rain through that area. We've currently got a bit of a convergence zone going through there. So let's have a look at that quickly. And then I want to have a chat about the overall northern part of Australia. But I do want to have a chat about this Mackay region because we do expect to see a fair bit of rainfall in this Mackay Whitsundays region in the next few days. So important, I think, that we do talk about it. All right, just want to make sure that you're seeing what I'm seeing. Yep, beautiful. All right, so you can see very heavy rainfall coming onto the coast between about Hamo, just south of Airlie Beach, Hamo, and down towards Mackay. So just in those northern areas, there's a fair bit of hilly country up there as well, in between Mackay and the Whitsundays. So if you've ever travelled that road, you know that there's a few hills and mountains and things like that that really help to lift the air. So not only do we have here a situation where we've got a convergence that's occurring between northeasterlies and southeasterlies, we've also got a situation here where we've got a lot of lift associated with mountain range lift. And so if we take a look here over the next 24 to 48 hours, we can see that we're actually expecting to see quite a bit of rainfall through this region. And if we do take a look here, we can see heavy rainfall between 4 and 10 p.m. tonight. That's already happening. And then as we go through 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., it actually gets heavier. So there's no sign that that's going to move away from the place, right? So there's big rain there tonight. So you need to be prepped for big rain there between probably, once again, that Airlie Beach through to Serena area. So really big rain overnight tonight. Tomorrow morning, still a fair bit of good rain up there. And then as we go through the day, we might see it just ease off a touch. through the day, back to showers. And then as we go into the nighttime hours, we'll actually see that redevelop, but we'll see it redevelop probably Mackay southwards. Okay, so that's the big difference there for tomorrow night. So probably from about Mackay or the northern suburbs of Mackay down through to Camilla is where we'd probably see the heaviest falls overnight tomorrow night into Thursday morning. And then as we go through the day Thursday, we start to contract that rain back up to the Whitsundays. So you can see here, big rain redeveloping around the Whitsundays on Thursday night, Friday morning. So if you think about it, big rain tonight, huge rain tonight in that area. Then tomorrow night, big rain down south of Mackay, or Mackay southwards. We've got to keep Mackay in there because they're just on the northern edge of it. And then the day after, so Thursday night, Friday morning, we're anticipating big rain between Mackay and the Whitsunday. So by the time I talk to you on Friday night, I'm expecting to see quite a few triple-digit numbers in these regions. All right, so the expectation here is some very heavy rainfall for this region. Then what we're expecting over the weekend is that rain to contract northwards. There is a possibility that over the weekend we also develop a weak circulation off the coast between Mackay and Cairns, and that weak circulation likely to travel in a northerly direction as it's forming. I think there was some rumblings of that in a few of the different models. So this is why Mackay is getting the rain. So you can see here what's happening. You've got this northerly flow, and see how it curves? That curvature in the flow that you're seeing on your screen there, that curvature in the flow is what's creating, that squeezing of the flow is what's creating the lift. And then you've got the mountain ranges, which are just out the back of Mackay and up through, as I said, that hilly country, that enhance that lift and really bring it and really accelerate that lift. All right, so that's the big reason why there's so much rain there tonight. Now, if you take a look at what's going to happen to that big squeezy area tomorrow, you'll see that it pushes through Mackay overnight and through the morning, and then tomorrow we see that squeezy area just shift southwards. And you notice there that it's not quite as sharp and strong. So when it does shift southwards, the rainfall probably won't be quite as dramatic as it is to the north of Mackay. But basically, whenever we curve the flow, the atmosphere doesn't like being dictated to, doesn't like being told that it's got to change direction of the wind. So when it gets told that it's got to change direction, so when it gets forced to change direction, it kicks up a stink and throws a tantrum. And so what's happening here is that it's throwing a tantrum all along that line there. All right? And that line extends onto the coast just south of Mackay. All right. The expectation, as I said, longer term, is that this line or this little area of convergence will shift northwards. Now, as it starts to shift northwards, we start to see the possibility of some weak circulations developing. Now, you Brisbane folk know what this does, right? If you don't, you've been living under a rock. Remember the 300 mils that you got 30 mils out of? Yeah, that's what these things do. So if this hugs the coast on the way back up, there's our 300 mils. If this moves 50 k's off the coast, there's our 30 mils on the way back. All right, so that rainfall on the way back as this squeeze zone pushes northwards again, that rainfall is not guaranteed. So that rainfall Thursday night, Friday morning on that squeeze zone on the way back isn't guaranteed for that part of the coastline. All right, but obviously we need to keep an eye on those circulations, because if they stay on the coast, if they stay around the Whitsunday Islands, that means that squeeze zone is going to be pulled onto the coast. So very similar to how we saw the Gold Coast got whacked, Brisbane got missed, Sunshine Coast got missed, Wide Bay Coast got whacked. So we could see something here that could mirror that, right? So we might see the initialisation of the low, a coastline getting whacked, then the other part of the coastline getting missed, and then potentially getting whacked a bit further north. All right, so that sort of type of dynamic, I can see that sort of trying to figure its way out here as well. Same thing that happened down in Brisbane a few days ago. All right, so as we go through, we can see this circulation. So see how this circulation, we actually develop multiple circulations. This becomes really tricky. So as we push that northwards, this trough creates one circulation, possibly a second, possibly a third, possibly a fourth. The one that we'd be interested in is the one closest to the coast. All right, because that's the one that has the power to do a bit of damage when it comes to intensity of rainfall. Not from a cyclone perspective. None of this garbage will turn into a cyclone anytime soon. Not when there's 4 different lows on one trough line. Okay? But that's what we're looking for longer term. So what we can see then is we sort of solidify our 4 circulations into 2. So you can see there 2 circulations. From those 2 circulations, we develop 1. That's when we can start to pay attention to that 1. Up until then, it's all noise. All right? And how that operates, we don't know. All right? There's 4 circulations. Each one of those could become the dominant circulation. We don't know that it's going to be there. We don't know it's going to be 400 k's further east. We don't know if it's going to be right on the coast. We don't know those things. But we don't need to pay attention to it until it forms into 1 circulation. Once it does, absolutely, we start paying attention to it from early next week. And so you'll start to hear me talk a lot more about the Coral Sea from early next week. All right? But up until that point, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here. It's just all about how close do those circulations form to the coastline to allow for an increase in rainfall. Beyond that, we can then start to talk intelligently. Once we've got it figured out, we can start to talk intelligently about low pressure potential and maybe tropical cyclone potential in the longer term. All right. That being said, just be aware that on the south side of all that mess, we're going to see a big increase in southeasterly winds. So obviously, with this messy convergence zone on the Mackay-Whitsundays coast, all right, we're going to see strong southeasterlies underneath it. Then they're going to ease for a little bit because the convergence will weaken on Thursday. And then as these little lows start to form, as these little circulations start to form, we're going to start to see really gusty, squally winds developing near and to the south of those circulations. All right, so they're going to potentially drive winds up around 30 to 40 knot gusts, especially if there's some squally showers around. So obviously this is a place you want to be avoiding on the water as we move into, as we move into Friday and Saturday and on the weekend. All right, but just because of the unpredictability of it all, the winds themselves probably maxing out at sustained at 20 to 25s, gusting to 35 to 40s, but the unpredictability. We can go from 0 knots to 30 knots just because of the motion of those circulations or maybe even the structure of those circulations. So very important that we're not caught out on the water in between the Mackay and Townsville coastline towards the end of the week into the weekend. Alrighty, so that's this part of the world. Now, this isn't the only part of the world that's getting a lot of stuff going on. So if you take a larger scale view at Queensland, what we're seeing is a weak circulation around the southwestern part of the Cape. So just there. The expectation is that that circulation is going to track southwestwards, and we can see that circulation tracking into the NT there. All right, so the idea is that that's going to help to provide heaps of rain for Western Queensland, the Gulf country, and then especially in the Northern Territory, through the desert areas of the Northern Territory. So we're going to see significant rainfall through places like Tennant Creek. You can see, once again, what did I say about the atmosphere? It doesn't like to curve its airflow. So when it gets forced to curve its airflow, it's going to kick up a stink. So where is it getting forced to curve the air? It's getting forced to curve the air because the air wants to go west to east. Then it gets forced to come north to south. Then it gets forced to turn this way. So where we're turning the airflow, we're creating significant rainfall. All right, so as we go into the weekend, we can see very heavy rainfall through western parts of Queensland will eventuate, and through the eastern NT at least, possibly the central to southern NT as well. And so the idea is over the course of the next, just between now and Sunday, we could see falls in the 50 to 150 range in the Mount Isa area, 50 to 150 generally around the northern Goldfields and Upper Flinders, potentially 1 to 300 in the eastern and central parts of the Northern Territory. And that's on top of the big numbers that they had around Alice the other day. So that's some really big rainfall accumulation there. And the great thing about this, I guess, if you want to call it great, is that we might actually start to see some of this rainfall Yeah, some of this rainfall start to filter southwards to places like South Australia who desperately need rain, and maybe even Victoria. So this could become a fairly significant rain producer, not just for the desert where it gets wasted a fair bit, but into places like South Australia, into the agricultural regions of Australia. There's some really good signs there, positive signs, early signs still. So it's not a done deal, but there's some really positive early signs that we can spread some of that rain out and we can give everyone a bit of a taste of this, right? So that's probably one of the most pleasing, I guess, encouraging aspects of the upcoming rain in the next fortnight, is that it's not just northeast Queensland, it's not just the Kimberley, it's a lot of far northern Australia and some even of southern Australia that gets involved in this. So it's been very, very difficult to get any of the rain from northern Australia into southern Australia. This is the first real sign that we've had this season that we might be able to achieve that down into Victoria, Western New South Wales, southwest Queensland and South Australia, most of all South Australia in this one. So some really positive signs there. But you can see here, look at that, beautiful rainfall all over northern Australia. And that's without a monsoon. So just a quick heads up on the monsoon. So the monsoon came over for a couple of days. So the monsoon, you can see it there, coming over for a couple of days, only affected the Gulf of Carpentaria and Queensland. So the monsoon trough is operating through Queensland right now. But it didn't quite affect the Western NT. The Western NT got a bit of rain from an equatorial trough, but the monsoon trough is in operation across Queensland at the moment with that beautiful cross-equatorial flow for them. However, the monsoon is about to die, and it dies fairly quickly. The cross-equatorial flow breaks down as early as Thursday, and by Friday is totally broken down. So that westerly that you're seeing there is certainly not a monsoonal westerly anymore. All right, so that monsoon breaks down really fast. The next sign of the monsoon coming across again starts to show up around about the last couple of days of the month. So we see the monsoon coming back into northern Australia in the last couple of days of the month and early March. So that's the next time we'll be looking for potential tropical cyclone formation and widespread rainfall. So this makes everything that we've just talked about even more impressive. The fact that we can see so much rainfall in a non-monsoon period is very, very impressive and unusual. We don't tend to find large-scale rain processes like this occurring in a situation where we don't have any broad-scale lift from a monsoonal trough. So while there's no tropical cyclone risk at the moment, not on the cards anyway, not in the next 7 days, it's still very impressive rainfall from something like this. So I think that about covers us. So you can see widespread 50 to 150s over the next 10 days or so, with some opportunity of 2 to 300s across Central Australia. We just can't target exactly those points in Central Australia that are going to see those huge numbers just yet. So our focal point when it comes to rainfall is northeast Queensland between Bowen and probably Camilla. And then northeast Queensland from about Townsville through to Innisfail or Babinda. So 2 little areas in northeast Queensland. But the Townsville to Babinda area, not set because we don't know what that little circulation is going to do. And the other area of interest in the next 24 hours is just the Broome area around southwestern parts of the Kimberley. We've got a little circulation there around the Kimberley northern interior border. And that circulation is driving quite a bit of rain into the southwest Kimberley. So there's a real chance there for Broome to pick up a fair bit of rain in the next 12 to 18 hours, and so too for maybe even Derby. So some nice rainfall for them coming as well. So that's after that will settle down and push in through the inland Pilbara. Unfortunately, it isn't going to provide a hell of a lot of rain for the coastal parts of the Pilbara. So that's what we're anticipating there, folks. All right. Before I keep going, our sponsor there on the top left, Fair Dinkum Builds, we thank them, Fair Dinkum Builds Townsville. We thank them for their sponsorship. I know Zeke and their gang, I think they're going off to the States to go check out the Cowboys. The North Queensland Cowboys are playing over in Las Vegas, so they'll be going there soon, I think. Zeke, good on you, mate. Half your luck. And our subscription service. So remember, we're not funded by government agencies. We are our own people. So we rely on the generous support of our subscribers. So today we had, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 video forecasts today to our members all over Northern Australia. So they've been told everything you've been told here. They already know. But yeah, we thank them for their support. We have quite a few thousand now subscribers, and we thank them for their support. And if you'd like to join them, it's $32.95 a year. It's not going to break your bank, and it's $69.95 if you want all access to our graphics. So that being said, I'm going to open it up to some questions. All right, I'm just going to go through our questions from here. Liz, hi Nitso, hi Liz. Portia, hello from Mackay. Portia, thanks for reminding me, because Mackay was very important to talk about. Munjumbi, cyclone coming. I hope I've answered that. When we take a look at, in case you are wondering, the actual probabilities for tropical cyclone development are very, very low. Very, very low for the next 7 days, at least, probably the next 10 days. We can see we never get above about a 5% chance of a tropical cyclone for the next 7 to 10 days. Beyond that, listen, if I'm going to be fair dinkum with you, I'm going to be straight with you, beyond that, there is increasing risk of tropical cyclone development, right? Beyond days 10 to 12, there is increasing risk in the Coral Sea. But it's not at the point where we're going to go, we're ready to sort of proclaim, yes, there's going to be a cyclone in the Coral Sea, watch out, all right? It's just that the risk increases, especially because we're going to start to see the redevelopment of the monsoon, large-scale, deep layer moisture coming in from the deep tropics, and it does look as though we're going to have a few pre-existing little disturbances around. So absolutely, if I'm being straight with you, there is going to be an increased risk of tropical cyclone development beyond day 12, all right? But we're not at the point where we can speak intelligently about something that far out. So that's all I want to say about that. There is no cyclone coming. There is no cyclone imminent. There is no obvious cyclone threat coming in the next fortnight. But what I am telling you is that the environment for tropical cyclone development will improve beyond day 12. After that, it's up to the atmosphere to figure it out. It's up to the atmosphere to try and get something going. But the environment for something to get going will be much more conducive after day 12. All right, so that's your answer to cyclone coming. Hi, Bruz. Hi, Jamie. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Anthony, gun show. Let's go. The gun shows. The guns are a bit weak today, mate. It was bloody cardio day. Not a fan of cardio day. Fingers crossed for more rain for Bowen. Yeah, should be a fair bit more rain still coming for Bowen, Nick. So, yep. Hello from Mackay. Hello, Farmer. Hello to you. Hi, Liz. Liz Lavender. High humidity still lingering in the Cairns-Mareeba area. Yeah, it is, and it's going to linger for a long time. I like that. It's going to linger in the Cairns district for a long time. I'm not seeing any sign that we're seeing any sort of change in air mass over Cairns. And it's just going to be the same thing that you saw today, right? So showers in the morning, showers at night on the coast, showers and storms inland in the afternoon, probably trying to stay inland in the afternoon. So if you take a look at the Cairns district, it's just the same. It's Groundhog Day. We're going to see probably more rain south of this region tomorrow, so down towards that Townsville Mackay area primarily, and probably, if we're being fair dinkum, probably around Mackay. So we're going to see a progression southwards of a lot of the rain. So tomorrow might be a bit uneventful for the Cairns district, and then Thursday probably just starting to see an increase again. And then Friday, we should be back on. So widespread showers and thunderstorms, and then Saturday, widespread showers and thunderstorms, and then Sunday, widespread showers, and you know the drill. All right, so, but there's no real change in air mass here. And when we do get the southeasterlies coming in, they only sort of just make it. And so by the time they get in here, they mightn't be very strong unless there's a weak circulation. So I'm not seeing any change in your pattern till at least Sunday, Monday, mate. So very humid, very hot, sultry. Sultry's the word. Sultry's a good word. Good word. I'll try and use that with Jay and Dave tomorrow for Mackay. Hey, Nitso, weather for Vegas next. Oh, Pat, I don't know, mate. I genuinely don't know. I'll tell you what. Let's make it. I'll make it a mission for me to find that out for our next broadcast on Friday. Yeah. Let me write that down. Hang on, give me a sec. Yeah, it's a good point, Pat, but I haven't studied it, mate, so I'd just be talking out of my ass. Just hang on. Weather for Vegas for Cowboys. Yeah, sweet. Beautiful. All right, I'll make it a point to come back to you on that one, Pat, for Friday night's update, okay? Anthony tagged David. Good on you, Anthony. More people that know about us, the better. What's your take on rain for New South Wales? Paul, we don't really cover New South Wales, mate, primarily, so I can't say I've really studied the topic. Paul's asking what's the rain like for New South Wales? There's a few different systems operating there, I think. There's another trough system here. Yeah, that pushes across. Yeah, and it just sort of wants to linger. And then this is the main system, this one here, right? This is the one that's being caused by the Gulf flow, tracking into the Northern Territory, washing out into a trough, and then the trough just sort of hanging about. Yeah, and it just hangs about western. So western New South Wales, yeah. Southern New South Wales eventually. Yeah, don't see too much going on up north. The southern part of Queensland is like Death Valley for a cyclone, for any weather at the moment. There's a fairly strong ridge there and it just doesn't want to budge. So every time there's going to be an attempt to bring weather up into northeast New South Wales and southeast Queensland, that ridge is going to try its best to try and kill it off before it gets going. But yeah, look, there's some pretty good signs of rain there for New South Wales, mate. But yeah, without really having studied the area, it's sort of outside of our area. We sort of talk about the tropics only and the subtropics, so we sort of cut off around the Gold Coast. But I did look at that and just briefly, and I did see a lot of rain over western New South Wales, and that will probably filter down towards the alpine areas of Victoria in that northwest southeasterly flow. I'm not sure I'm seeing a lot of evidence for Sydney rainfall as such, but yeah, definitely Western New South Wales looks to be the place I'd want to be if I'm looking for rain in the next 10 days, possibly 14, 15 days. Yeah, the rest of it, not set in stone. David, we're getting rain in Geelong tonight, thank goodness. Yeah, David, there'll be plenty more rain down there for you southern folk too, I think. There's, as I just said there for New South Wales, it's not our area, but I was just taking a very brief look earlier today, and Victoria's actually in the firing line there for some pretty decent rainfall, and not just with this little trough here. This little trough's just nothing compared to the sort of stuff we might see later on down the track coming down from the north. See this stuff? Yeah, this might have a bit more intensity about it on Sunday, and then potentially on Monday and Tuesday. And look, that trough might be quite slow moving, and then we've got another opportunity later on. So you can see there's a few opportunities for Victoria over the course of the next fortnight. So it's just a bit tricky about exactly what part of Victoria. It's all very finicky when it comes to this far, how much of that moisture is going to be transported this far south. But there's a pretty deep layer of tropical moisture that pushes into the desert areas and then pushes down into Victoria. So there'll be some really good opportunities. Probably at this stage, I would suggest you east of Geelong, but yeah, I'm not set. Yeah, you can see there, we've actually got some pretty good rain right over Geelong, you know, like, yeah, there's some pretty good rainfall coming for Victoria. We just can't isolate who at the moment. It looks as though most of the state's going to pick up something, all right? But there are going to be some spots that'll pick up closer to 100 mils over the course of the next 10 to 14 days. So good news there for Victoria, because I know you guys, just like South Australia, are crying out for rain. How's it looking for Moranbah next 7 days? Lulu Baker asks, how's Moranbah looking? Moranbah is one of those tricky spots because it's sort of just too far west of the big stuff on the coast. So if we go to Moranbah, now we know that, well, I'm not going to go over Mackay with Sundays again because we've already done that. But if you go to Moranbah here, yeah, that's a really good example, but that's over 2 weeks. Let's try that over 1 week. Right, so this is Moranbah. So you can see how we're getting the heavy rainfall on the coastline, 200, 300 mils on the coast. And over Moranbah, we're getting, you know, probably 1/10 to 1/5 that, right? So about 30 to 50 mils. So there's a real sharp decline in rainfall there for Moranbah. When we sort of try and figure that one out, what we see is that this really strong convergence, which is actually going to get stronger tonight, is going to sort of sit very close to the coast. So you can see Moranbah sort of gets a piece of it overnight. It doesn't quite get a big chunk of it though. It just gets a taste of that, and then it continuously gets little tastes of all that convection and convergence going on further to the east of it. And you can see there for the next few days, it does look a bit showery, but not to the point where I'd be too concerned about getting flooded out or anything at Moranbah. Once again, I'm not a hydrologist, so I'm not sure how the soils are going over there in Moranbah. But we're not, from a meteorological perspective, we're not looking at huge rain for Moranbah. We're certainly looking at big rain for the ranges and for the coastline, and even north of Moranbah, up towards Ballyando and even Charters Towers. Those folks are looking at some pretty good rain. For you folks, you're probably just on the edge of that, and probably on the lesser interesting edge of that, if I was to be blunt about it. So yeah, look, decent rainfall for the next few days. We're getting quite a few showers, mate. So that's what I'd say about Moranbah over the next 7 days. Beyond this, by the way, so if we just track that through. So today, a little bit of a taste tonight, maybe. Wednesday, much better chance of a taste during the day or during the morning. Thursday, we see once again, you're sort of just in and around all the action, but all the big actions on the coast. And then Friday and Saturday, you can see a clearance there, right? So clearance through Moranbah by Friday, clearance on Saturday, and shouldn't be much going on there Sunday either. All right, maybe a little shower, but that's about it there for the next sort of 5 or 6 days. So Moranbah, your best chance is going to be starting overnight tonight, and then for the next 2 days after that. So Wednesday, Thursday, mate. Steve, oh, we've got someone from Bloomsbury. So Steve's messaged us from Bloomsbury. But I'm smack bang in Bloomsbury up on the hills. We had just shy of 300 last night, about 70 from 9 this morning until now. Nothing too hard right now. Yeah. And don't be surprised, mate. Bloomsbury's right. Oh, Jesus, you're about to get smashed, bud. Yeah, you're about to get smashed. Look at that. That's exploding over the top of just east of Bloomsbury. Where are you? Smack bang in Bloomsbury. Yeah, you're going to get smashed in the next few hours, I'd imagine. Look at that. That's just exploded on the southern Whitsunday coastline there. Absolutely exploded just since I've started talking to you guys. Yeah, big rain there, isn't it? Jeez. That's really solid. Let me go in there a bit. That's a bit concerning, especially because it's exploded fairly early in the night. Remember, it only gets heavier over the next few hours. So, yeah, Jesus. That's solid rainfall there, folks. We're talking about 25 to 50 mils an hour, and once this sets in, look at it. It just keeps back building behind it. So there's going to be some big numbers. I reckon bigger numbers than what the computer models suggest here. Yeah, there's going to be some really big numbers coming out of there. I think. Access C North Queensland. Let's have a look at that. Maybe it's picked up on that really heavy stuff. No, it really missed it. It's missed it. Yeah, there's definitely going to be some very heavy rain coming right into Bloomsbury very shortly, mate. So keep your eyes out for that on that radar screen. Mightn't be heavy right now, but geez, that's coming at you. And you can see it back building behind as well. And that'll probably come a little bit further south. So that'll be in beelining for Mackay later on in the night for sure. Yeah. So look out, Steve. Hopefully you're on the hills, mate. Not at the bottom of the hill. Hippie, evening Nitso, evening Hip. Glad to have you with us. Mad Mumsy, good on you, Mad. Zabinator, hey Nitso, a few showers, but nothing at Pentland again. Can hear it and see it, but yeah, there's plenty of opportunities. I wouldn't get too despondent about it, Zabinator. There's a fair bit going on up there over the next few days around Pentland. So yeah, today it looks like it's west of you. Don't be surprised if some of this stuff that comes inland overnight re-sparks up. And looking at... yeah, so what do we got on the Access C? We got anything here that makes life interesting? Yeah, so west of Pentland, and then this stuff overnight, it doesn't do much with it. And then as we go into tomorrow, we got really good chances again tomorrow of seeing good rain around Pentland. So I wouldn't be too despondent that this stuff's missed you, because there's going to be so many opportunities here, at least until Saturday, for you to pick up rain. So you can see there the model suggesting that A little bit less going on in the morning, and then once again in the afternoon we kick off with a few showers and storms, Charters Towers to Pentland. They'll continue into the evening, potentially into the night, and then some heavier potential on Thursday, and then probably peak days on Friday. Peak days on Friday there for Pentland. If you haven't got anything by the end of Friday, that's when I'd be a little bit cranky. But should be some nice rainfall there for Pentland over the course of and Charters Towers by association, of course, as well. Yeah. 2 tickets to the gun show, says Nathan. Oh, thanks, Nathan. I tell you what, I don't feel the gun show today. It's cardio day. Cardio day, the worst day of the week. I don't know how you people can do cardio. I hate it. All right. Lindsay Doherty, great work, Nitso. Pinnacle had a good drop today. Where's Pinnacle, Lindsay? I'm interested. Is Pinnacle? I'm assuming Pinnacle must be somewhere near Mackay, yeah? I think Pinnacle is near Mackay, maybe. Press the like button, peeps. Yeah, Zabanay, thank you. So if you're on YouTube, we've only got a very small YouTube following. So if you're on YouTube, press the like for us and then get some people to realise that we exist. That'd be great. Good on you, Zab. Thank you. How about Mareeba, North Queensland? Yeah, similar to Cairns, mate. Yeah, chance of a few showers and thunderstorms for the next few days. But nothing. I think we talked about Mareeba the other night. There was nothing there that made us go wow for either Atherton or Mareeba. It was just a few showers and storms, right? And then just the chance at any time for those showers and storms to be really heavy, though, the rainfall from them. So, you don't want to say nothing happening, because you'll get one, and that one will dump 50 to 100 mils on you. That's the sort of stuff we're sort of dealing with in this region, where you only need to get hit once and you'll remember it, versus, where it's not going to be ongoing rainfall. But see, one of these little showers could spark up into a storm, and one of these little showers turns into a storm, hits you for half an hour, and you get 30, 40 mils out of it, right? So that's why I don't want to go, nothing going on, because there is something going on, but it is quite patchy. So you do need to be a bit lucky in Mareeba and Atherton and all the tablelands for this stuff. You can see that tomorrow afternoon we're anticipating some more storms coming through. You can see once again possibility of 20 to 30 mils in an hour, and then another 20, then up to sort of 50 to 70 mils in an hour. So that's the sort of stuff, mate, that we're dealing with in Mareeba, Atherton, all the tablelands areas, all the areas west of the coastline here. That's the sort of thing that we're going to be dealing with. Is patchy, but possibility of very heavy falls from that patchy, because the atmosphere has got so much moisture in it up here in far north Queensland. So it's just not going to be everywhere. It's not like the Mackay stuff where we can see like a big squeeze zone and it's just clearly obvious that there's going to be so much rain. Here it's going to have to sort of depend on a bit of luck for you to get rain in Mareeba. A little bit less luck as we get towards the end of the week. So if we go to give you an idea here, as we get to sort of Friday, so it's all a bit of luck for the next couple of days, right? And you might get luck. But then as we go into Friday, we rely a little bit less on luck. We're going to start to see a little bit more shower and thunderstorm activity generally Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, definitely a lot less luck required. But we're also probably going to see more coastal activity as we go into the weekend, as opposed to monsoon-like activity, which is what we've got at the moment. So those showers and thunderstorms coming in from the north right now, they're monsoonal showers and thunderstorms. They're not going to be the same type of thing that you'll be getting on Saturday. Saturdays will be more widespread, but it won't be monsoonal. It'll be easterly flow type stuff. Yeah, but you can see there's some nice heavy showers coming through Cairns this evening, and Mareeba will cop the edge of some of those as well. All right, Jackie watching. Good on you, Jackie. Thanks for joining us. Kelvin, oh well, I'm out in Richmond working, hoping to get back to the towers in 8 days. Not much hope of that. I don't know. I guess it depends, mate. I don't know what the river systems are doing out there and how bad they are. But when we take a look at Richmond over the next 8 days, we've got a lot of storm activity, but storm activity does tend to be a bit patchy. And we do tend to find that there's a lot of folks that miss out, a lot of parts of the catchment that miss out. Problem is, when they hit you hard. Those rain rates in those, they're going to dump 50 mils very quick, anywhere from Charters Towers to Richmond and Julia Creek. So anywhere in here, the atmosphere is full of moisture. And so you get one of these storms, mate, they're just going to dump a shit ton of rain on you, and they're dumping it very quickly. And there's nowhere for that rain to go because those river systems, as far as I'm aware, are still quite high. The soil moisture, I think the soils are saturated here. I'm pretty confident the soils are saturated here. So the fact is, we are going to see significant rainfall through this region. Primarily might sort of push south of the Flinders Highway from Thursday, but yeah, there's just no single day where you can point to this entire area from Charters Towers to Cloncurry to Camberwell to Tennant Creek even. There's not one single day in this next 5 to 7 days where you can say there's not much rain coming, right? There's potential for heavy rain there throughout this entire time. How is this year's activity? Average, below average for rainfall? Yeah, Liz, definitely above average. This wet season's been, definitely on the high side of average, mate. If I just, I'm only guessing, but let me try and figure it out with a couple of bomb charts here. See if I can figure out where they keep them these days. Oh no, that's all right. I'll just use their old one. So if we look at rainfall deciles, and we'll just use the last, what's 4 months? Yeah, well above average, mate. Look at that. In the top 10% of wet seasons for North Queensland. For anyone outside of the coastline of North Queensland, it's one of the top 10% of wet seasons we've had. And that's from October to January. And I think that only gets bigger as we go from November to January, doesn't it? Because we did get a lot of rain in November, and then I think even December. It's just the same. Look, over the last 4 months, it's just, well above average, mate. Some of the highest rainfall on record up in the tip of the Northern Territory. Big rain in the North Kimberley. The South Kimberleys started to get involved. They might have had a bit of a slowish start. They've definitely started to get involved. But this is the problem, right? It's all been in the north, and we've had no way of harnessing all that went out to sea, right? There's no way of harnessing that water. Some of this stuff here will flow into the Lake Eyre, the air basin, but the problem is we haven't been able to pull any of that southwards to sort of New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia. So we really are a land of droughts and flooding rains, where up here we're in flood, and down here we're in drought. It's just one of those real bummers this year, where we haven't had an active jet stream to try and create sort of rivers of moisture to bring them down. And that's what makes this next week so exciting, interesting, I guess, is the possibility that we might be able to create a bit of a river of moisture in the atmosphere, not in the ground, but in the atmosphere, to drive some of this rain that's going to be over the desert areas of the NT, drive that south into South Australia, Western New South Wales. So all these areas with these reds and pinks, these areas might get a bit of a reprieve. They might actually get a bit of rain over the course of the next 10 days or so. So that's probably the most interesting thing. But definitely this season's been ridiculous. For me, workload-wise, the subscribers will tell you I've been non-stop, man. This season's been the hardest I've had to work in the 15 years we've done Weather IQ. And we've still got a month and a half to go. And I reckon the amount of time I've sat there doing videos this year has exceeded every other year. And we've still got a month to go. So it's been brutal. I'll tell you what, I'm going to enjoy the Greek islands this winter, I'll tell you. Can't wait. Thanks for your live updates. Much appreciated, says Val. Thank you, Val. Thanks for tuning in, mate. Marilyn, many thanks. Nitso, many thanks, Mal, for joining in. Nitso, we've got to get your Arms and Shoulders Day program dropped into Discord. We might make that a subscriber exclusive, Matt. So only subscribers get Nitso's Shoulder and Arms Day. Today wasn't it. Today was cardio. Today was brutal. I hate cardio. Matt, yeah, humidity, linger long time in Laura too. Yeah, I like that. Linger long time in Laura. Yeah, same for Laura. Exactly the same as the rest of the NTC. Stephen, no complaints here in the Burdekin. You can hear the cane growing. Happy days. Good on you, Steve. Hopefully a bit more to come for you guys in the Burdekin as well. Jesse, hey Nitso, weather for the Whitsundays. Mate, we've already gone through it. First 10 minutes. Go through the first 10 minutes for me, Jess, and you'll find out everything I said about the Whitsundays and the Mackay area, mate. Dean, Nitso, love the feed, love the arms. Love the arms. Stop it. Western Mackay region resident here with smaller guns but similar hair. Will I need my snorkel tomorrow? Probably not a snorkel, but it'll be wet, man. It'll be wet. Tomorrow in the Mackay region, we do expect... I think we went through it, didn't we? We went through the... Where was it? The Mackay area. And I think tomorrow... So tonight, it's all about the Mackay area northwards. So it's all from about Serena up to maybe even Bowen, but Serena up to about Airlie is where we're thinking for overnight tonight into early tomorrow. And then if we just take a look at where the convergence is expected, Jesus, that rain's very heavy up around Bloomsbury. Right, so this... Yeah, so that's where. So right now, between now and 10 p.m. or at 10 p.m. I should say, that's where our convergence is. So right on the southern edge of the Whitsundays into that Bloomsbury area, which makes sense. That's where we're seeing some of that really heavy rain right now, right? But what I'm interested in is this. See, when we take a look at the radar, do you see how we extend this area of heavy rain right where that point of curvature is? Yeah, so what I'm interested in there is as this curvature shifts southwards, that area of heavy rain should shift southwards too. So what we see then is that area of heavy rain shifting south of the Whitsundays down towards that Mackay, the northern suburbs. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with some of our northern suburbs up there. I think there's Seaforth up here, isn't there, just to the north? Yeah, so these sort of areas up here towards Midge Point and areas further south of that. So that's where the curvature is happening. So that's where I'm anticipating the heavier rainfall will sort of contract to as we go into the morning. And then as we go into 10 a.m, we see that potentially contracting to the Mackay Serena area. So, yeah, mate, the overnight, probably early tomorrow, I'd be expecting to see quite a bit of rain in the Mackay area, and western suburbs will be definitely involved in that, especially with the possibility of that lifting from the ranges out here too. So that's where I would be going. And then tomorrow night, probably just south of Mackay is where I'd be targeting, and it probably won't be quite as dramatic as tonight's rainfall. All right, and then we push it back up towards the Whitsundays on Friday. David, thank you, Nitso. No worries, Dave. Good luck, mate. I hope you guys do get some rain down there in Geelong. So there's, as I say, there's a few opportunities here for the next week to 10 days down there for you blokes. So hopefully you get a taste of some of this tropical stuff. Does the northeasterlies and easterlies clash cause rain convergence and heavy rain, or do they only form troughing and circulations? Yeah, so the northeasterlies and southeasterlies. So what happens is you get these winds coming from the north, you get these winds coming from the east, and so as these winds curve, they start to create spin. Now, if the spin is centralised, so if it's like a centralised area of curvature, we start to create lower pressure. So we start to create a centralised low pressure system. If it's a large area of curvature, so this is a large area of curvature. So see how we're curving the air way back here out near Ballyando and Moranbah, all the way out to a few hundred k's off the coast. So this is a large scale curvature process. So this is more of a trough. What we're seeing around Mackay tonight is more of a trough than a low. So we're not seeing any clear rotation. So when we take a look at this, we're not seeing any really localised sharp rotation developing. So all we're seeing here is a trough line, curvature along a trough line there. So what we're seeing there is a large-scale area of rainfall, and that large-scale area of rainfall extending past the coastline and into inland areas as well. So right now, that's a trough. But what we're looking for is when we push the air northwards, this is why we're looking for a low developing on the way northwards, not on the way southwards. So let me explain this part to you. So we're going down here, so we're pulling, and we'll use something a bit higher res than the AI. The AI is not high res enough to see it. All right, so And we'll just go a little bit above the surface so we take friction out of the equation. So here we go at the 950. So no sign of any low at this point, right? So the sort of convergence is down here, Mackay to Camilla, that sort of area, right? Now, where we get the low potential is once we start to get this southeasterly that comes in underneath. See that? So once we get the southeasterly underneath. Now, the reason we get more of a chance of a low forming when the southeasterly comes in underneath is because the southeasterly comes in at different times. So the southeasterly that comes through the water has no friction attached to it, or very limited friction attached to it. So it can interact with the trough earlier than the southeasterly that has to decelerate due to frictional effects. So what we start to see is a rate of curvature that changes and is a little bit more centralised and a little bit more focused. So when we see a wind change, it doesn't have to be a southeasterly. I mean, if there was a monsoon coming through, we'd see the same thing, right? There'd be parts of the monsoonal flow that would hit the trough earlier and create a little bit more centralised spin. So that's what's happening here. We're creating a little bit more centralised spin on the way north than we were on the way south. And so this is why. And once again, the reason why we're looking towards the islands and towards the headlands is because this acceleration, deceleration due to friction is most prevalent when we're close to a mainland or a headland. So in this situation here, you've got Hamo, you've got the Whitsunday coast, you've got a bit of funneling here accelerating the wind flow. You might have a bit of funneling in between the islands that accelerates the wind flow. And then you've got the islands themselves, which decelerate the wind flow. And then you've got the coastline, which decelerates the wind flow. And once again, the Whitsunday's coast isn't the flattest coast you've ever seen. There's quite a few hills there too, which all of these little tiny factors that you don't think of, they go into making these circulations. And that's why they tend to develop so close to the coast, right? And then what they do is they will then go in the direction of the general mean flow. So as they begin developing really heavy rain and deep convection, they then follow the flow pattern in the atmosphere through a deeper layer of the atmosphere. When we take a look at the flow pattern through the deep layer atmosphere, we can see that flow pattern is going to try and drag it to the northeast, very similar to what it did with the Brisbane system. All right, so that's the problem with the Brisbane system. Remember, from a couple of nights ago, we had a flow that was trying to drag it through Brisbane, and we had another flow that was trying to drag it out off the coast of Brisbane. And so we didn't know which flow was going to win. So we had to put Brisbane on alert, because if this flow won, Brisbane wakes up with 300 mils. If this flow wins, Brisbane wake up with 30 mils. All right, so that's the difference, and we're seeing exactly the same processes in and around the Whitsunday coast on Friday. That weak circulation that forms, and we don't quite know, is it going to try and hug the coast, in which case we get our 300 mils, or is it going to push just off the coast, in which case we get our 30 mils? So that's what we're looking for, Bear, and that's why we're looking for the low on the way north, not on the way south, okay? Jesse, I missed the start. Oh, that's all right, mate. Just go back. When this is over, you'll be able to go back and check the start out. Is Cairns going to get some decent rain? James, I mean, what do you class as decent? Showers, yes. Storms, yes. Heavy rain like the stuff that we're seeing at Bloomsbury? No, you're not going to see this. There's no evidence of that over Cairns at any stage in the next 3 to 5 days, all right? Are you going to see an increase in showers as we get to the weekend? Yeah, probably. Could you see very heavy rain from an isolated thunderstorm? Yeah, absolutely. But you're not going to see this. You're not going to see convergence on the coast like you're seeing here around that Whitsunday, Mackay area. All right? You're not going to get that. Okay? I've got to be honest there. Mr. Start, have we discussed Central Queensland coast? Nothing to discuss Central Queensland, mate. The rainfall won't extend to Central Queensland's coast, and none of that inland stuff is going to impact you at all in Central Queensland. So we've discussed the coastline north of St. Lawrence, because that's the only coastline I think we need to discuss. Mackay and Serena. Brett, we've talked about Mackay and Serena in the first 10 minutes, mate. So when this is over, just check the first 10 minutes. Just read that the Bruce is so bad at Cuttable, the speed has been reduced to 60. That does not surprise me about the Bruce Highway one little bit. Doesn't even need rain sometimes to drop the speed to 60. Evening from Cairns, ED Nurse. Hey, one of my good friends, Gemma, she's a nurse. She's in Babinda at the moment, working there. 100 mil Walkerston area from 9 a.m. yesterday to this morning. Yep, and plenty more to come up until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, for sure. Clara, Gulf. What part of the Gulf? Gulf is a really big place, Clara, so I'm not going to talk about the whole Gulf. You'll have to narrow it down for me. So come back to me and let me know what part of the Gulf, because the Gulf is a freaking big place. It's the size of, I think it's bigger than many of our states. Halliday Bay has a broken main pipe above it. Rain damn it. 100 mils at Billiana since 9 a.m. That's pretty interesting. Bron, Townsville, and Michael, Nitso, you make me moist. Oh, goodness me, Michael. Stop it. All right, so you're a dickhead. Mix one of our admins on our what's the name? On our page. Goodness me. So what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. Firstly, I wanted to go and have a quick look at Billiana. Billiana getting 100 mils. That was a bit unusual. When did that happen? Since 9 a.m. Ah, yep, there we go. That nice little cluster there, right there. Yep, I can see how Billiana got a fair bit of rain very quickly there. Yep, little cluster of rain there, and then it just sort of pushed southwards as the day went on. Oh, yeah, and another cluster there too. So there's two big clusters there of rain that you got. So one here at around 10:30, and then another one there. Yeah, and so that's the same for that bloke who asked me, is Cairns going to get decent rain? Like, yeah, absolutely, you could get something like what happened there in Billiana, right? So that little shower that just hit Cairns could explode and suddenly dump 50 mils south of Cairns. And then this little shower just to the north of Cairns, it could explode and dump 50 mils right over Cairns, right? So that's the stuff that the NTC is going to see. But you're not going to see widespread 1 to 200s like they're going to see down in the Mackay with Sundays. So, yeah, just be aware there. Yeah. Townsville for Bron. Let's have a look, Bron. Townsville's a tricky spot, old Townsville. Lots of showers coming in on the northerly, I'd imagine. Yeah, we're seeing that now, yeah. Let me have a look. Yep, that's current. So, yeah, lots of heavy showers coming in on the northeasterly and northerly. That's a really nice flow for Townsville to get some nice rain out of it, but there's no squeeze in that flow. So it is a really nice flow, and Townsville does very well in this flow, but Townsville does need something to sort of squeeze. So basically for Townsville, what's happening right now is we've got a wet sponge over the city. Think of the atmosphere as just a really wet sponge, a saturated sponge, but no one's squeezing the sponge. All right, so unless we get something to squeeze the sponge, we're just going to get dribbly rain out of it. And so, you know, dribbly rain's still pretty good. In this type of setup, you can still see some heavy rain. Look at that. The intensity of the rainfall is very heavy. It's just that we're not going to see something like what's happening in the Whitsundays in the Townsville district because we're not getting anything to squeeze that sponge. They're getting the squeeze of the sponge. So they're getting the wet sponge over their heads down there, but they're also getting, you know, a really strong bodybuilder to squeeze the sponge over the top of them. We're not getting that. We're getting the wet sponge, but that's it. So that means lots of shower activity, right? So going back to your question, lots of shower activity in the Townsville district, potentially some storms in the afternoon, evening, even overnight. There's a chance there that we build some instability overnight to see some showers and thunderstorms. Some thunderstorms. We're going to see some showers, no doubt. 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. you can see there, 4 a.m. to 10 a.m. tomorrow, still a few showers around. That, as I say, that northerly flow does drive a bit of rain into the Townsville district, right? And then as we go into the afternoon, you could see some shower and isolated thunderstorm activity developing on the ranges. And then into tomorrow night, we see, once again, new showers popping up. Once again, if you take a look at our flow tomorrow night, it's going to be very similar to tonight, right? So there's a northerly, maybe a bit more north-northwesterly. Not as good for Townsville or north-northwesterly, but it's not going to preclude us from getting any rainfall. It just might mean that a lot of the rain might sort of filter off down towards the Burdekin. And then as we go into Thursday, you can see here widespread rainfall expectations Thursday night, Friday morning. So let's try that again. Thursday night, Friday morning into Friday. So Friday looks like a bit of a wet day for the region. And once again, when we take a look at our flow pattern, It's not the best for Townsville. We can see that we move from a northerly to a westerly. And then once we turn into a southeasterly, all of our big rain chances are gone. All right, so once we change that flow to a southeasterly in the deep layer atmosphere, not the surface, we lose any sign of any heavy rainfall locally at that point. Okay, so from there, we're probably just looking at isolated showers. But as I say, the big thing for Townsville is going to be, where does that little circulation around the Whitsundays, where does it go? Does it sort of try and hug the coast up towards the Burdekin, or does it head offshore? If it heads offshore, Townsville will miss a lot of the heavier rainfall on the backside of this. If it comes up the coast, Townsville could be in line for some very heavy falls on Friday or Saturday. My previous experience tells me that Townsville tends to miss out on the way back in most cases. Not always, but most cases. Townsville will usually miss out on the big stuff on the way back. So for Townsville, in my opinion, your best chance of picking up rain, heavy rain, is going to be on the front side of this. So while it's down around Mackay, picking up those heavy showers, hoping you get 50 mils out of those each day for the next couple of days, and then maybe a bit of an increase there on Thursday night, Friday morning, before it sort of clears off later on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, that's what I'd be doing for Townsville. John O. Burdekin, a little bit more chance for the Burdekin to get those heavier falls for a bit longer than Townsville, just because of that flow pattern change tomorrow night to a northwesterly. So everything I said for Townsville applies for the Burdekin as well. All right, so great chance for heavy showers, absolutely. And you can see that happening tonight. You can see heavy showers coming onto the coast. So more of that tomorrow. And then plenty more of that Thursday night into Friday morning. But whether or not we go the next step to heavy, really heavy rain will depend on that little Whitsundays low that we talked about, right? So if that Whitsundays low tracks northwest, the Burdekin will be in for an absolute hammering. Most times in the past, we've seen that doesn't happen. Usually the Whitsundays circulation will push off to the north or northeast. That's what usually happens, but it could be an exception. So that's what I would say for the Burdekin. Burdekin Dam, same as the Burdekin. We're going to see, Burdekin Dam's another one where I'm not seeing any sort of beeline for the Burdekin Dam with regards to any major rainfall. It's just more of a case of just being on the southern edge of some of this shower activity that develops on the coast. So yeah, we can see that's the rainfall between now and we'll just go Saturday, because obviously on the back side of this we're not too sure, but up till Saturday we're confident. 50 to 150 mils of rain through the Burdekin Dam would be the expectation, and once we sort of try and nut out when that happens, you can see overnight tonight we're getting a fair bit of light to moderate rain. Through tomorrow we're getting a fair bit of moderate rain, maybe a shower or thunderstorm, maybe a thunderstorm even tomorrow afternoon in and around the Burdekin Dam area. And then once again, the same sort of thing as we go into Thursday, Friday. And then after that, we do see a clearance from the Burdekin Dam over the weekend. Okay, so that's the expectation at this stage for the Burdekin. But yeah, 50 to 150 seems a safe bet for the Burdekin Dam. Katharina, how is rain looking around Daintree or the Cooktown over the next week? Katrina, I think, sorry, is it Katrina or no, Katharina? Katharina. Is it like Katharina, like a Greek name, Katharina? Let's have a look. Cooktown. I think from memory, it's very similar to the Cairns district. Very similar to the Cairns district, where we're sort of looking for showers and thunderstorms, and we're looking for heavy falls with those. But outside of that, we're not looking at any organised, structured convergence. Yeah. And notice that for Cooktown, the flow is northwesterly to north-northwesterly. So that means that a lot of this stuff that's offshore stays offshore, and it might come back onto the coast around Cairns, Innisfail, Tully. But for where you are there and the flow pattern, a lot of that will stay offshore. So your best bet is hoping that something sort of comes down from up here where my cursor is for Cooktown, as opposed to looking offshore, because there's not much chance of anything offshore coming back at the coastline. So anything that pops up just off the coast of Cooktown stays off the coast of Cooktown until we get further south, mate. Yeah. So going back to your original question there for generally for Cooktown, no major changes to the forecast, I don't think, with regards to the pattern for the next few days. So showers and isolated thunderstorms. They will be pretty isolated though. Yeah, same thing for Thursday, just very isolated shower and thunderstorm activity. There'll be less going on around Cooktown than there will, say, down around the southern tablelands. There'll be a bit more going on down there. And then as we start to move into the weekend, I think this is where Cooktown might start to see a fair bit more shower and thunderstorm activity over the weekend. But not general rain activity at this stage, mate. So it's still going to be a bit of luck to get rain. But I think areas just west of Cooktown have done very well rainfall-wise over the last week or two. Every time I've looked up there, there's been 50 or 70 mils from one of these areas just west of Cooktown. So, yeah, you guys have done very well. I'm not sure if Cooktown, the township, has done very well. I know that they were doing well about a week ago, but... yeah, lots of shower and storm activity still around, fairly isolated for the next couple of days and then increasing as we move to the weekend. Friday night in Ingham. Yeah, still a little bit too far out, mate, for the Tones and I concert. I get the enthusiasm for why you want to know, but it's just a little bit too far out Friday. Remember, we've got a monsoon coming on the 28th, but that probably won't hit Queensland until early March. So I would suggest to you that unless there's a little lower cyclone up here, which there doesn't look to be, but if there was, that would obviously bring us some rain. Outside of that, I'm just seeing a few showers and maybe some isolated storms on the ranges. And, hopefully for Friday night with that concert, that might mean Ingham's in the clear, but it is a little bit too early. Maybe ask that question either on Friday or early next week, eh? Is it this Friday or next Friday, the Tones and I? Because if it's this Friday, you might be in a bit of trouble. Yeah, if it's this Friday, I thought Tones and I was next Friday. Anyway, if it's this Friday, yeah, you're in a bit of trouble. So you can see there quite a bit of rain in Ingham quite a bit of shower activity in Ingham on Friday. And maybe a bit of a decrease in the evening, and then an increase again overnight. So yeah, there's going to be a bit of shower activity around Ingham on Friday. I thought Tones and I was next weekend. Yeah, Marilyn, I'd be taking a raincoat just in case. Yeah, or an umbrella, or maybe not an umbrella. You don't want to. I don't think they'll let you in with an umbrella these days. But I'd be taking a raincoat or a poncho, mate, just in case. Showers around Rollaston Thursday. Showers around Rollaston on Thursday. Yeah, there might be. There's nothing major, but let's have a look. What do we got here? Nothing major south of Claremont at this stage, mate. So... yeah, look, sure, there might be a shower. Yeah, maybe. But that's it, just a shower, not anything major. Anything north of Claremont, we're a little bit more confident on. Claremont to Emerald, maybe a couple of showers. And then south to Rollaston, geez, we're stretching the envelope to try and get a shower down that far south. But, yeah, there might be a shower or two there around Rollaston, mate. Nothing that should be concerning you, though. Yeah. All right, I think that's where we'll leave it for the day, folks. Hang on, I've got a late one there, Matt. Any chance of some forecasting deep dive videos for subscribers once the season settles down? Yeah, so Matt, what I might do for the subscribers, for those of you on the iWall Pro membership only, though, who would benefit from that, I'll create a forecasting guide to look at how to spot troughs and things like that. But I'll leave that for just the Pro membership because they're the ones that have access to our weather centre, which will have a lot of the stuff that I'll be talking about, all the dynamics and the parameters and things like that. So, yeah, that's on the cards, mate. So my trip to Greece this year, I'm going to leave it till June, July before I leave for Greece. Last year, I think I left in May. So, yeah, so I'll told my family I'll be a little bit late, so I've got an extra month and a half there to play with, and that's on the cards for this week, for this dry season, Matt. So yeah, if you are a subscriber, make sure you're a subscriber to the iWall Pro though. You won't get access to that unless you're an iWall Pro subscriber. But yeah, we'll create a sort of forecasting guide and how to use the different model parameters and those sort of things. That's definitely something I'll be working on in May and June, but not before, definitely not before May or June, mate. This season's got me buggered. I just don't have the time. But yeah, mate, good call. And yes, that will be something we will be doing for the iWall Pro subscribers. Right, folks, if you'd like to subscribe to us, so it's $32.95 for the basic membership. That gets you all my forecasts. And the iWall Pro that I was just talking about, it's a $69.95 a year one. That has all the predictive charts and things as well for you to use at your own leisure. Thanks for watching us tonight. I'll be back to talk to you again on Friday night. By that stage, we should know where that little circulation around the Whitsundays is going to be and where it's going to go. And we'll be able to talk a bit more intelligently, I think, about the onset of the monsoon at the end of the month and any tropical cyclone risk increases that might be coming beyond that day 12, which I mentioned earlier tonight. So we'll talk again 3 nights' time. Thank you for those of you that are subscribers, and for those of you that are still on the fence, thank you for participating tonight anyway. And when you do hop off that fence,